Do you ever feel like something is missing? Maybe you have a successful career, a beautiful family, but you dread getting up in the morning. Do you compare yourself to others and wonder why they seem to be motivated and on the path to success? Today, Dr. Hill, who's a life coach to executives and business owners, can help you create a balanced life spiritually, emotionally, financially, and professionally while staying healthy and growing your relationships. Why do some people figure it out and others don't?
I asked Jim Rohn that one time, and he said, Tom, it's mysteries of the mind. But there are characteristics that if you will apply them, the end results are almost inevitable.
And he said it was mysteries of the mind.
All you can do is just share the knowledge, share the information, recommend the books, that sort of thing. But what I've learned in these lessons, and we can talk about that later more, but is that if you stay current and have an accountability partner, somebody's holding you accountable and you're holding them accountable, seems like that makes a huge difference. But the motivation's got to come within. Jim Rohn says you don't have to sleep under a pyramid and rub crystals together, or sleep in a sweat lodge, or sleep in the desert. You don't need to do that. It's not brain surgery.
So what is it? What's the secret?
Two things. Find out what the success principles are, wherever you are. In health, for example, there are success principles, and it's basically diet and exercise, and in all these areas of life, there are success principles. And then having the discipline to do the things you need to do till they become a habit. So what I say is, first of all, decide what your priorities are. In my case, it's spiritual first, and health second, relationship bottom down the line. I put money last, but I've learned if I take care of the first five, money. The three things I learned about money, and you're a money expert, is one, money's attracted, not pursued by who you become. Who wants to hang around you? Who wants to be on your board of directors? Who wants to invest in you? Who wants to hire you? That sort of thing. Second thing is money doesn't change you. It's just an amplifier. It's just you're a jerk. You're just a rich jerk. And then third, there's no correlation between money and happiness. Money just makes you more of what you already are. So you focus on those five areas, and then the money will come because of who you become. Just like doing a chicken soup book. Of all the books in the world you could co-author, you'd like to do chicken soup because they've sold 250 million copies, got like a 90% name recognition. But because who I'd become, they asked me, do you want to co-author one of the chicken soup books? And they're sold out. We're having to reprint already. Just amazing.
And the story in the Chicken Book for the Soul, or Chicken Soup for the Entrepreneur's Soul, it's a funny story of your first 10 days after you moved to Georgia. Those were tough 10 days. Boiling it down to two things, right? Following certain success principles. I talk about finding a mentor or finding somebody who can coach you or follow somebody who's successful, who's already figured it out. Right? And principles are universal, like with health and with money and with finances and with, exercise, whatever. So that, I think, is the easy thing most of the time, right? You might tweak the principles, you might tweak what you're doing. The discipline is where I think most people fail. So let's talk about the discipline. How does someone build that muscle?
The way the brain's wired, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, you need to write your goals down. What are those things you want to accomplish? And then secondly, and one of the disciplines, for example, is every night before you go to bed, you read your goals, you go down through the list, what are you going to do tomorrow? But having a really, really good coach and an accountability partner to hold you accountable. After I studied deep what I call successful people, the 15%, not necessarily successful in money. They were successful in life and taking care of themselves and making a difference in other people's lives. So the six things that I believe differentiate the 15%ers from the 85%ers. First of all, number one, they're committed to personal development. Every day is how can I be better person today, better spiritually, better in my health, better in my relationship, right down through the areas. What can I do to be better? For example, how many people are way in over their head in credit card debt, Teresa? Huge numbers, right?
Huge.
Yeah. And it's so simple, don't charge.
That takes discipline.
That takes discipline. So number one, they are committed. And there's two things that I say along that line. We'll get to those. So that's number one. Number two, these folks are, so they're becoming the best person they can become. That's their motivation. They're positive, motivated people to become the best they can become. Number two, and a lot of that does come from childhood. Number two, they are learners. They are readers. They're reading a book a week. They want to learn. They want to turn the TV off. So they're learners. They're readers. And one of my sayings is along that: one idea, well executed, can change your life forever. Mm-hmm. One idea. Chicken soup, 250 million books. It was just an idea that Jack and Mark came up with. So be a learner. They're learners. They go to seminars and they read. Number three is one person who's attracted to you can change your life forever, because who you become in those areas. So I attracted Mark Victor Hansen in my life. I attracted Gary Baker into my life. So they're networkers. I have a really simple, basic networking system, changed my life forever. A lot of networking systems out there, but they do have a network, and they work that network. And it's not just going to cocktail parties, and handing out your business cards. You got to have a system. That's number three. Number four is understanding those principles that we talked about earlier. What are the principles? For example, look in a relationship, look in a marriage. What are some good principles, like maybe fidelity, supportive, encouraging, some honest, caring. So understand the principles, and you'll get that from the learning process into the networking. And then fifth is the discipline that we talked about earlier. Anybody can have it. It is not exclusive to anybody. And then the last thing that I watched these people, and I've met so many of them. I have, I don't know how many million in my LinkedIn group total, is OIMF. OIMF. Every day I'm getting the odds in my favor. Every day I wear my seatbelt. Every day I try to, one of the things I say is, one is be the best person I can be, and then make a positive difference in other people's lives. So whether it's through charity or, volunteering or whatever.
It's a universal law. It's one of God's laws, and laws are law. It's like gravity; you can't change it.
Yeah.
We are our future is determined by our habits today.
Yeah.
And if we change our rituals, if we change our habits, if we change, what we do every single day, our future has to change.
Then I've got a reading system that we'll put into the lessons. Where if you just want the principle, you don't want to read the stories, you can have those. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Isn't it amazing?
Oh, it is amazing. And a couple comments on the books that you recommended. Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich is an absolute classic. And the book that came out recently, a couple years ago, or actually just last year it came out, Outwitting the Devil. Yeah. I think you've got to read the first one, Think and Grow Rich, to really understand Napoleon Hill, where he was coming from. Mm-hmm. But that book, Outwitting the Devil, is him having a conversation. And it's left open to the imagination whether he was actually having that conversation internally with the devil or not. But you could analyze who the devil is, but a million times to sundown. But it's a fascinating, fascinating
it really is.
Dialogue on how we self-sabotage. One must search for their purpose. I have watched and studied so many who believe that life is what happens before 8 and 5, not understanding that life is so much more. So if you ever find that exceptional place or living, then I must provide role models for them to study. The life of Mahatma Gandhi, of John Mark Templeton, the impact of Mother Teresa, and Martin Luther King, each a great example of what it means to live your purpose. Isn't that the bottom line?
It really is.
So the secret to longevity or youngevity, right? Staying young is by doing exactly, living the way you're living, Tom. And you're an inspiration to entrepreneurs everywhere. You're a cheerleader for them. You're a great coach. And I really, really appreciate the work that you do. I appreciate back in 1984, how scary it must have been to step out of your box, out of your comfort zone, and do what you did. But thank God you did, because you have touched and affected so many people along the way.
That's beyond measure.
Blessed Beyond Measure, the title of the next New York Times best-selling book, right?
That's what it's going to be.
That's
yeah,
what it's gonna be.
It's written, and now we're just turn it over to Esther.
All right, very good.
It'll be fun.
TomHillInstitute.com to learn more about Dr. Tom Hill.
My pleasure, Teresa. Look forward to seeing you in a month.
In a month, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
At your Eagle Summit. Very, very excited. Yep. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you, Teresa.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.